The Shi clan, one of the 8 ancient clans, mysteriously vanished overnight just like the Ling clan before them. Although the Shi clan had always kept a low profile, they possessed powerful foundations and many top experts. When their sealed realm reopened, millions of clan members had completely disappeared, leaving the realm silent and lifeless. The shocking event spread across the Central Plains like a storm, causing fear among all factions, since 2 ancient clans had vanished in the same way within 10 years. Many suspected a powerful hidden force was responsible. The only factions believed capable of such destruction were the Hun clan and the Jiyu clan. While the Hun clan remained silent as usual, the Jiyu clan faced suspicion and growing distrust from the other ancient clans, though they themselves could not understand how such a feat could have been accomplished without detection. Amid the rising fear, the Yao clan, Lei clan, and Yan clan formed an alliance called the Three-Clan Alliance. This unprecedented cooperation aimed to protect themselves from the mysterious threat. They built spatial tunnels between their realms so they could quickly support one another if attacked. After these defenses were established, the 3 clans began investigating the Shi clan's realm for clues. As time passed, the incident gradually faded from public attention. Meanwhile, the Sky Mansion Alliance continued its fierce war with the Hall of Souls. Through constant battles, the alliance grew stronger and attracted many smaller factions oppressed by the Hun clan. However, one concern weighed heavily on everyone. Xiao Yan had been missing for over a year and a half since entering the demonic flame realm. With no news of him, morale slowly declined, and the Sky Mansion Alliance eventually shifted from offense to defense. After finishing his long retreat, Xiao Yan senses that much time has passed. With Shu and beside him, he reflects on the incredible results of refining the purifying demonic lotus flame. Xiao Yan's strength has increased dramatically, from an intermediate 2-star Do Sheng to an initial 5-star Do Sheng. A leap of 3 stars that would normally require decades of cultivation. This immense improvement fills him with confidence that he can defeat the Hall of Souls chief in their next encounter. Shu and has also benefited from the refining process, rising to the advanced level of 4-star Do Sheng. However, when Xiao Yan checks his body, he is shocked to discover that the heavenly flames he previously controlled have seemingly disappeared. After carefully investigating, he senses something deep within himself. When he summons it, a pink flame appears in his palm and unexpectedly transforms into a small fire baby. The tiny creature behaves affectionately toward Xiao Yan, leaving both him and Shu and stunned. They gradually realize that this strange baby is actually a new heavenly flame spirit formed after the fusion of multiple heavenly flames, including the purifying demonic lotus flame and the essence of Shu and gold emperor incinerating heavenly flame. Since Xiao Yan had merged 6 heavenly flames together, something no one had ever attempted before, the flames combined into a new form of spiritual entity. Although confused, Xiao Yan confirms through their spiritual connection that the fire baby truly represents the heavenly flame within his body. When Xiao Yan worries that he might no longer be able to use his signature technique, the angry Buddha lotus flame, the fire baby suddenly demonstrates that it can perform the technique itself. It effortlessly creates multiple angry Buddha lotus flames, something even Xiao Yan struggles to do, forming 10 at once. Even more astonishing, the fire baby merges these flames together and produces a powerful extermination fire lotus. Xiao Yan's ultimate technique, but with far greater destructive power than anything Xiao Yan had created before. Realizing the extraordinary potential of this new heavenly flame spirit, Xiao Yan concludes that he has truly gained an incredible treasure from refining the purifying demonic lotus flame. After 2 years of silence, the demonic flame realm finally showed signs of life. A massive crystal egg floating above the magma sea cracked open, releasing a brilliant pink gold light. From within emerged Xiao Yan, who had finally completed his long cultivation retreat. As he stepped out of the light, Shu and appeared behind him, embarrassed by his lack of clothing, while Xiao Yan jokingly praised her beauty, marking their long-awaited reunion. After absorbing and evolving the purifying demonic lotus flame, Xiao Yan gained a powerful new companion, a fire baby capable of instantly creating the devastating extermination fire lotus. This meant Xiao Yan would no longer need others to delay enemies in battle. Since the fire baby could unleash the technique whenever he wished, the baby behaved affectionately toward Xiao Yan, treating him like its closest kin. Shu and suggested giving the intelligent flame spirit a name, because it kept making the sound, Yi Hua. Xiao Yan casually named it Little Yi, though the baby seemed unhappy with the random name. Afterward, Little Yi transformed into pink flames and returned to Xiao Yan's body. With their training complete, Xiao Yan and Shu and prepared to leave the demonic flame realm. Before departing, Xiao Yan gently told Shu and that after rescuing his father, he would go to the Jiyu clan to formally propose marriage and hold a grand wedding. Shu and who had waited many years for this moment, happily agreed. Xiao Yan then tore open space and left the demonic flame realm with Shu and causing that realm to disappear forever and eventually fade into history. Outside, the demonic flame plains had formed after the purifying demonic lotus flame descended 2 years earlier, turning mountains into barren plains filled with cracks. Adventurers later discovered valuable demonic flame rocks, crystals containing powerful fire energy. These became extremely valuable for fire attribute cultivators and alchemists, attracting many factions to mine them. Both the Sky Mansion Alliance and the Hall of Souls established forces there, leading to constant battles over the resources. During one clash, a Sky Mansion Alliance unit led by Commander Lu was ambushed by the Hall of Souls while transporting demonic flame rocks. Despite being outnumbered and heavily injured, the soldiers chose to fight desperately to protect the resources for their alliance. Just as the Hall of Souls elder ordered the Sky Mansion soldiers to be killed and their heads displayed, the elder's head suddenly flew off without warning. Space rippled behind him, and a man and a woman slowly appeared, hinting that powerful reinforcements had arrived. After Xiao Yan and Shu and escaped the demonic lotus flame realm, they suddenly appeared and instantly killed Protector Mo of the Hall of Souls. Shocking everyone present, the remaining Hall of Souls members panicked and tried to flee, but Xiao Yan effortlessly killed them all with a single invisible attack. The rescued Sky Mansion Alliance soldiers, led by Commander Lu, gratefully thanked Xiao Yan. He gave them high-grade medicinal pills to heal their wounded and asked about the major events that had happened during the 2 years he was trapped in the flame realm. From them, Xiao Yan learned that the Shi clan had mysteriously disappeared. The Sky Mansion Alliance and the Hall of Souls were at war, and several ancient clans had formed an alliance. Commander Lu warned Xiao Yan about a nearby Hall of Souls branch hall guarded by a powerful one-star Sheng from the Han clan. Instead of retreating, Xiao Yan asked to be taken there. Moments later, he returned after less than 10 minutes, revealing that the entire branch hall had been destroyed and the Sheng Han Qing killed. Before leaving, Xiao Yan promoted Commander Lu's unit to higher ranks within the Sky Mansion Alliance. When they asked his name, they were shocked to learn that their savior was actually Xiao Yan, the young alliance chief of the Sky Mansion Alliance. Shu and tells Xiao Yan that she must return to the Jiyu clan because her 2-year disappearance and the sudden destruction of the Shi clan have caused major turmoil among the ancient clans. Xiao Yan understands and promises that one day he will go to the Jiyu clan to formally propose marriage to her. After she leaves, Xiao Yan reflects on the current situation in the Central Plains. The Sky Mansion Alliance and the Hall of Souls are locked in a fierce war. Both sides have suffered heavy losses, destroying cities and branch halls. Though their top experts have mostly held back, Xiao Yan believes the conflict is inevitable, since the Hall of Souls once massacred the Xiao clan. Determined to take revenge, he prepares for the final confrontation. Meanwhile, the Sky Mansion Alliance headquarters, located in the Falling Star Pavilion, has grown tremendously. Many factions have gradually merged into a single unified force under the Alliance. Despite heavy fighting with the Hall of Souls, the Alliance has remained strong during a meeting of the Alliance leaders. Yao Lao and Feng Zunjie discuss recent battles. Intelligence reveals that the Han clan, the true power behind the Hall of Souls, plans to send a terrifying expert to help destroy the Alliance, Hun Mo Qian, a 6-star Sheng who once participated in the killing of Xiao Zan, the legendary ancestor of the Xiao clan. This news shocks everyone. Even the powerful Alliance leaders realize they may not be able to withstand such a terrifying opponent. Their forces are barely balanced with the Hall of Souls, and the arrival of a 6-star Sheng could break that balance and lead to disaster. The hall falls into silence as they struggle to find a solution. Just then, Xiao Chen, the ancient Xiao clan ancestor rescued by Xiao Yan, quietly speaks. When the discussion turns to who can fight the chief of the Hall of Souls, Xiao Chen suddenly smiles and declares that he will personally take on that opponent. Xiao Yan suddenly returns to the Sky Mansion Alliance Hall, shocking everyone present. Feng Zun Jie, ancestor Huo Yun, and the others cannot believe their eyes after Xiao Yan has been missing for 2 years. Yao Lao becomes extremely emotional upon seeing his disciple safe and back, even tearing up because he had been deeply worried about Xiao Yan during his absence. Xiao Yan apologizes for causing concern and confirms his return. Xiao Chen then reveals that Xiao Yan is now powerful enough to fight the chief of the Hall of Souls alone. Yao Lao quickly realizes that Xiao Yan has successfully refined the purifying demonic lotus flame, something that countless powerful experts had failed to subdue for thousands of years. This revelation shocks everyone but greatly boosts the Alliance's confidence. With Xiao Yan back, the Sky Mansion Alliance regains hope and prepares to face the Hall of Souls in a decisive battle that will determine the ruler of the Central Plains. After the meeting, Xiao Yan returns to his courtyard where he reunites with his daughter Xiao, bringing him warmth and peace. He also learns from the little fairy doctor that she has advanced to a 1-star Sheng thanks to the demonic Saint Essence blood. However, Kai Lin has remained at the bottom of the 9 Serene Spring for nearly 3 years, likely encountering a mysterious opportunity deep underground. Xiao Yan decides that after dealing with the Hall of Souls, he will go to the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe to investigate her situation. After Xiao Yan returned to the Sky Mansion Alliance, news spread rapidly across its territories, greatly boosting morale. During the past 2 years of fighting the Hall of Souls, his absence had weakened the Alliance's confidence, but his return restored hope and strengthened unity. Many members viewed him as a heroic figure who had repeatedly saved them and turned desperate situations around. Meanwhile, the Hall of Souls remained strangely silent, even ignoring the destruction of one of their branch halls by Xiao Yan. While ordinary Alliance members believed this silence meant they feared Xiao Yan, the Alliance leaders understood it was the calm before a major storm. Suspecting the Hall of Souls was gathering strength for a decisive strike, both sides tightened defenses, sent out spies, and avoided direct clashes for several days as tension built across the Central Plains. Observers realized that the final battle between the two factions might soon begin, and whichever side lost its top experts would likely lose the war and its influence over the region. During this tense period, Xiao Yan spent rare peaceful days with his daughter Xiao, feeling warmth and regret for being absent from her life for 2 years. Xiao had grown stronger and more beautiful, inheriting great talent and receiving special training from Xiao Chen. Xiao Yan also met Qing Lin, who had become a 1-star Sheng, and Tian Huo Zun Jie, whose strength had recovered to the peak of the Zun class. Xiao Yan quietly resolved to help Tian Huo break through to the Ban Sheng level in the future. However, the brief peace soon ended. After 7 days of silence, the Hall of Souls sent a blood-red challenge letter to the Alliance. The letter specifically challenged Xiao Yan to a life-or-death battle at Fallen Mountain in 3 days, signaling the beginning of a decisive confrontation between the two sides. The Fallen Mountain Range, located between the territories of the Hall of Souls and the Sky Mansion Alliance, had long been a battlefield for both sides. Ancient legends claimed many powerful Sheng experts once died there, which made the place famous. When it was chosen as the site for the decisive battle between the two factions, countless experts and factions from across the Central Plains rushed there to witness the fight for dominance. Within 3 days, the mountain range became extremely crowded. Even powerful elders and hidden experts came to watch, while magical beasts fled the area to avoid being caught in the conflict. Despite the massive crowd, no one dared to step onto Fallen Mountain itself, waiting for the battle to begin. On the 4th day, when the sun reached its peak, space suddenly distorted and a spatial tunnel opened. The Hall of Souls appeared first, releasing cold black fog as 7 Shengs emerged, led by the Hall Chief and Old Man Hun Mo, demonstrating their terrifying strength. Soon after, space distorted again and the Sky Mansion Alliance arrived with 10 Shengs, including Xiao Yan, Yao Lao, ancestor Huo Yun, and other powerful experts. Their lineup shocked the spectators because their strength now rivaled that of ancient clans. The Hall Chief then spoke to Xiao Yan, acknowledging his survival and implying that he possessed the purifying demonic lotus flame. He compared Xiao Yan to the legendary Xiao Zan, but warned that since the Han clan had killed Xiao Zhan before, they could do the same again. Finally, the Hall chief proposed a decisive battle with extremely high stakes. If the Sky Mansion Alliance lost, they would face complete destruction. Facing a powerful spiritual attack from the Hall chief, Xiao Yan calmly stepped forward and accepted the challenge, signaling the start of the ultimate battle. Xiao Yan calmly accepts the Hall of Souls' proposal to settle their long-standing conflict. Instead of launching a full-scale war that would cause enormous casualties on both sides, they agree on a decisive challenge consisting of 3 battles between top experts, with the side that wins 2 out of 3 matches declared the victor. Both sides understand that while a massive war might destroy their enemies, it would also cripple their own forces. For Xiao Yan, this moment represents the culmination of years of struggle and hatred. Long ago, the Hall of Souls captured his father and destroyed the Xiao clan, nearly wiping out his entire bloodline. Since then, Xiao Yan has walked a difficult path of cultivation and revenge. In a way, the Hall of Souls themselves became the driving force behind his rise, pushing him to grow stronger until he reached his current level. The Hall of Souls soon reveals their lineup. Old Man Hun Mo steps forward first, volunteering as one of the 3 fighters. As he moves, he secretly launches a powerful hidden attack toward Xiao Yan from beneath the ground. However, Xiao Chen, known as Blood Axe Xiao Chen, appears and intercepts the attack, crushing the hidden force with a single step and exposing the Han clan's underhanded tactics. A tense confrontation begins between Xiao Chen and Old Man Hun Mo. Their hostility quickly escalates, but before the situation can develop further, another terrifying figure suddenly appears, an ancient elder holding a walking stick. This person is Hun Qian Mo, an extremely powerful expert from the Han clan whose reputation still terrifies the older generation of cultivators. His arrival shocks many of the spectators, as some believed he had already died long ago. Xiao Chen recognizes him immediately and reacts with intense killing intent. In the past, Hun Qian Mo had once been forced to beg for mercy before the Xiao clan's leader, Xiao Zhan. Now, however, the situation has completely changed. Hun Qian Mo mocks the fallen glory of the Xiao clan, declaring that the Han clan now stands at the peak of the continent while the once great Xiao clan has nearly vanished. Enraged by these words, Xiao Chen launches a furious attack with his massive blood-colored axe. The clash between the 2 ancient experts produces a terrifying shockwave. However, after the brief exchange, Xiao Chen is forced backward, having been trapped in the demonic flame illusion for thousands of years. His strength has fallen behind Hun Qian Mo's current power. Hun Qian Mo coldly states that times have changed and that the current Xiao Chen is no longer the unstoppable blood axe of the past. He then turns his attention to Xiao Yan, sensing the aura of Xiao Zhan within him and realizing that Xiao Yan has inherited Xiao Zhan's power in the heavenly tomb. At this point, the Hall of Souls lineup becomes clear: Old Man Hun Mo, Hun Qian Mo, and the chief of the Hall of Souls himself. Xiao Yan quickly evaluates the situation. He believes he can personally fight the chief of the Hall of Souls, and Xiao Chen can deal with Old Man Hun Mo. However, Hun Qian Mo is the most dangerous opponent, as his strength is likely around a 6-star Do Sheng, stronger than anyone currently present, just as Xiao Yan is considering how to deal with this problem. A small figure suddenly appears beside him. It is the Pill Tower's mysterious ancestor, whom Xiao Yan previously met within the demonic flame realm. The old man calmly volunteers to fight Hun Qian Mo, completing the Sky Mansion Alliance's lineup and setting the stage for the decisive 3 battles that will determine the fate of both factions. The ancestor of the Pill Tower suddenly appears beside Xiao Yan, shocking the experts present. The first elder of the Pill Tower immediately greets him respectfully. Xiao Yan also shows great respect toward this ancient figure. The ancestor looks at Xiao Yan with surprise and admiration, remarking that even he once failed to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. Yet Xiao Yan had managed to obtain it. Xiao Yan humbly explains that his success was mostly due to luck, because the remnant soul of the purifying demonic lotus saint had sacrificed itself to suppress the flame. The ancestor then states that since the Pill Tower has joined the Sky Mansion Alliance, they share the same fate. As the guardian of the Pill Tower, he cannot stand aside during this decisive war against the Hall of Souls. He understands Xiao Yan's true purpose for establishing the alliance. But he does not oppose it because it benefits both sides. The Hall of Souls has long threatened alchemists across the continent, and many have turned to the Sky Mansion Alliance for protection. To support the battle, the ancestor volunteers to fight Hun Qian-mo, one of the strongest experts of the Hun clan. Although he does not guarantee victory, he promises that he can at least hold Hun Qian-mo to a draw. This assurance greatly relieves Xiao Yan because it removes a major uncertainty in the upcoming battle. The ancestor's appearance causes a huge commotion among the surrounding experts. Rumors spread that his true body is actually a Tier 9 Zan pill, an extremely rare medicinal pill that gained intelligence and cultivation. Because of this, even elite Do Sheng experts might become greedy if they could refine him. However, his overwhelming strength makes such thoughts extremely dangerous. Hun Qian-mo warns the ancestor that opposing the Hun clan is unwise, claiming the Hun clan had previously avoided attacking the pill tower out of respect for him. The ancestor dismisses this as empty words, saying the Hall of Souls would have attacked long ago if they had the chance. With no need for further talk, the two experts decide to fight. Because their power is too destructive, the ancestor creates a separate spatial realm for their battle. Both of them enter the space and immediately begin an intense fight. The spectators watch through the transparent barrier as the two 6-star Do Sheng experts unleash terrifying energy attacks. The violent fluctuations shake the surrounding mountains, leaving the audience stunned by the rare spectacle. While their battle rages in the created realm, another confrontation begins below. Xiao Chen, the legendary blood axe Xiao Chen of the Xiao clan, steps forward and challenges the next opponent. Old man Hun Mo accepts the challenge. He releases a vast and powerful Do Qi, revealing himself to be an advanced 5-star Do Sheng. His dark energy spreads across the sky like a massive black cloud, frightening the surrounding experts. Many observers believe Xiao Chen may struggle, since he had been trapped in an illusion for thousands of years and his cultivation progress was slow, allowing Hun clan members like Hun Mo to surpass him. Nevertheless, Xiao Chen remains calm and fearless. His eyes burn with determination as he summons his enormous blood-stained axe. With the pride of the ancient Xiao clan surging within him, Xiao Chen roars that anyone who challenges the might of the Xiao clan must die, signaling the start of another fierce battle beneath the sky-shaking clash of the top experts above. Xiao Chen's deep roar awakens the ancient pride of the Xiao clan, causing Xiao Yan to feel a powerful resonance in his bloodline. Even though the Xiao clan has long declined, the pride of a clan that once stood at the very peak of the continent still exists within their blood. In the past, no one dared to challenge the Xiao clan's might, and even the powerful Hun clan could only hide like a poisonous snake, waiting for the right moment to strike. Old man Hun Mo mocks Xiao Chen, claiming that the current Xiao clan no longer has the right to speak with such pride. Xiao Chen coldly refutes him and launches a fierce attack with his enormous blood-colored axe. Although his attack is extremely powerful, Hun Mo blocks it with a strange bone web technique and counters skillfully. After a brief clash, Hun Mo summons a terrifying creature known as the Soul-Cursed Toad, a monstrous being created by forcing countless souls to devour one another before refining them together. The creature's body is covered with grotesque human faces, revealing the cruelty of its creation. The soul-cursed toad charges toward Xiao Chen with frightening speed while Hun Mo launches deadly sneak attacks from the side. Under the combined assault of the creature and Hun Mo, Xiao Chen is gradually forced onto the defensive and appears to fall into a disadvantageous position. Many spectators watching the battle feel both fear and hatred toward the horrifying creature. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan carefully observes the battlefield. Although Xiao Chen seems pressured, his calm expression reassures Xiao Yan that the ancestor still has hidden strength. At the same time, Xiao Yan also pays attention to another battlefield inside a separate spatial realm where Hun Qian-mo is fighting the ancestor of the Pill Tower. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion erupts as the spatial realm collapses and the two fighters emerge. After stabilizing themselves, they reveal that their battle has ended in a draw because their strengths are nearly equal and neither side was willing to fight to the death. This result disappoints the chief of the Hall of Souls, who had hoped for a victory. With that match ending in a tie, the outcome of the battle between Xiao Chen and Old Man Hun Mo becomes extremely important. If Hun Mo wins, the Hall of Souls will gain the advantage in the overall conflict. However, after observing the battle closely, Hun Qian-mo quietly remarks that defeating Xiao Chen will not be easy. The battle between Xiao Chen and Old Man Hun Mo becomes extremely intense. Although Hun Mo is stronger, advanced 5-star Sheng, while Xiao Chen is only a mid 5-star. Xiao Chen's reputation and combat experience make the fight far from easy. At first, Xiao Chen appears to be at a disadvantage as he struggles against the combined attacks of Hun Mo and the soul-cursed toad. Hun Mo mocks Xiao Chen and believes victory is certain due to his superior strength. However, Xiao Chen suddenly gathers all his do qi and prepares a final decisive attack, declaring that he will end the battle with a single axe strike. At that moment, his aura unexpectedly surges, temporarily reaching the level of an advanced 5-star Do Sheng. Using this power, Xiao Chen unleashes a terrifying technique called Universe Cut, severing the universe, creating a deadly blood-colored slash capable of splitting the sky. Facing this lethal attack, Hun Mo senses the danger and desperately uses a forbidden method. He sacrifices and devours the soul-cursed toad, absorbing its power to drastically increase his strength. After swallowing it, his body becomes unstable and violent, but he manages to form a massive blood energy attack to counter Xiao Chen's strike. The two devastating attacks collide, creating a massive explosion that fills the sky with blood-colored light and shakes the entire mountain range. The energy released is so powerful that it could flatten half the fallen mountain range if it spread completely. When the light fades, both Xiao Chen and Hun Mo are thrown from the explosion and crash into mountains. Badly injured and exhausted, Xiao Chen admits he can no longer fight because the previous attack consumed too much energy. While Hun Mo also suffers severe backlash from devouring the curse insect, which will affect his cultivation for decades. As a result, their battle ends in a draw. Since the previous match was also a draw, 2 of the 3 battles have ended without a winner. This means the final and decisive match will determine the outcome. Xiao Chen returns to Xiao Yan and tells him that everything now depends on him. Meanwhile, the chief of the Hall of Souls, Hun Mie Sheng, steps forward. Despite warnings about Xiao Yan's cunning nature and his possession of the purifying demonic lotus flame, the chief confidently challenges Xiao Yan, eager to test the power of the legendary flame in Xiao Yan's hands. The final battle between them is about to begin. As the chief of the Hall of Souls, Hun Mie Sheng, stepped forward, countless eyes around the mountain range immediately focused on him. His terrifying reputation across the Central Plains had long inspired fear. Although he had been in seclusion for years and rarely appeared, his legendary status had never faded. If one were to rank the strongest individuals in the Central Plains, Hun Mie Sheng would undoubtedly stand at the very top. Stopping about 1,000 feet away from Xiao Yan, the hall chief calmly looked at him with a faint smile. Despite the stalemate in the previous battles, his expression remained relaxed. 2 draws in 3 battles, that is somewhat surprising, he said lightly, but it will not change the final outcome. Xiao Yan met his gaze silently. An invisible tension filled the air as the temperature seemed to rise between them. You should always leave yourself a path of retreat, Xiao Yan replied calmly. Being overly confident can be dangerous. You should worry about yourself. Hun Mie Sheng laughed loudly. The Hall of Souls never leaves survivors. That cautious way of thinking belongs to weak people. Anyone who hesitates when pursuing great goals will never achieve them. Everyone watching felt their hearts pound with excitement. This battle would decide everything. On one side stood the chief of the Hall of Souls, and on the other stood Xiao Yan, the true pillar of the Sky Mansion Alliance. The outcome of their fight would determine the fate of the entire war. Hun Mie Sheng then revealed something from the past. Years ago, he had ordered the capture of Xiao Zhan, Xiao Yan's father, in the Jia Ma Empire. At that time he intended to eliminate the entire Xiao family. But because he entered seclusion shortly after giving the order, his subordinates only captured Xiao Zhan. Because of their carelessness, Xiao Yan survived and gradually grew stronger. Looking at Xiao Yan now, Hun Mie Sheng admitted that allowing him to grow into such a powerful opponent was partly his own responsibility. So this time, he said with a cold smile, I intend to correct that mistake. Xiao Yan's voice became icy. And today, I will finally settle the blood debt between the Xiao clan and the Hun clan. The hatred in his words was unmistakable. The Xiao clan had been destroyed, his father captured, and his family scattered across the Jia Ma Empire. Those painful memories had fueled his determination throughout his journey. Hun Mie Sheng simply smiled and released a surge of black dou qi, inviting Xiao Yan to attack. Before he finished speaking, Xiao Yan had already moved. With a sudden sonic boom, Xiao Yan appeared in front of him like a ghost. A tiny pink flame danced between his fingers, the terrifying, purifying demonic lotus flame. The moment it appeared, the temperature of the world surged. Hun Mie Sheng reacted instantly, forming a black dou qi shield. But Xiao Yan's flame melted the shield almost instantly, and his fingers shot toward the Hall Chief's eyes. Instead of defending, Hun Mie Sheng counterattacked with a palm strike aimed at Xiao Yan's chest. Intending to exchange injuries, Xiao Yan quickly changed his move and blocked the palm strike with his flaming fingers. Burning away the dense dou qi, Hun Mie Sheng retreated into the air, his palms slightly wounded. The heat of the demonic flame had cauterized the wound instantly. Although the injury was minor, it was humiliating for him to be wounded at the very start. Realizing the danger of his opponent, Xiao Yan immediately unleashed a powerful soul attack. A massive spiritual figure appeared behind him as he used Yellow Spring Divine Anger, releasing a terrifying spiritual sound wave that shot toward Hun Mie Sheng faster than lightning. However, the Hall Chief responded with his own technique. Countless black spiritual phantoms appeared around him and knelt in worship, releasing their own sonic waves. 10,000 worshipping souls. The two spiritual attacks collided violently, causing the mountains to tremble. Many experts nearby were unable to withstand the shockwaves and spat out blood as they retreated. In the end, the spiritual phantoms protecting Hun Mie Sheng exploded one after another, but he remained mostly unharmed. Xiao Yan frowned. It was the first time someone had directly countered Yellow Spring Divine Anger. Moreover, he realized that Hun Mie Sheng's strength had grown during the past 2 years and had now reached the intermediate 5-star Dou Sheng level. His soul realm was also at the perfect heavenly state, equal to Xiao Yan's. Hun Mie Sheng mocked him calmly. Your spiritual power is impressive, but defeating me with it is just wishful thinking. Xiao Yan did not reply. Instead, he opened his mouth and released a pink flame. The moment it appeared, trees throughout the mountains burst into flames and turned to ashes. Seeing the purifying demonic lotus flame floating above Xiao Yan's head, Hun Mie Sheng's expression finally became serious. The heavenly flame ranked third on the heavenly flame ranking was powerful enough to seriously injure even him. Xiao Yan smiled faintly. This is my first time using the purifying demonic lotus flame in battle. I hope you won't disappoint me. Hun Mie Sheng replied calmly. Even the strongest flame depends on who controls it. Then a strange and mysterious black flame flickered deep within his eyes. Xiao Yan suddenly sensed an unusual fluctuation coming from Little Yi, the flame spirit inside the purifying demonic lotus flame. Hun Mie Sheng smirked slightly. It seems, something inside my body has a special connection with that flame. Xiao Yan cast a deep glance at the chief of the Hall of Souls hovering high in the sky. His hands moved like blooming lotuses, swiftly forming a series of intricate seals that left countless after images in the air. Following these movements, the cluster of pink flames above his head shot upward with a sharp whoosh. It then twisted and flickered in the sky before the countless watching eyes. As the pink flame churned, an extremely frightening temperature began to spread. The entire world seemed to turn into a giant steamer. Mountains within the fallen mountain range occasionally burst into flames, sending thick smoke rising into the sky. The dou qi of many weaker cultivators began to show signs of boiling. Some people, whose emotions fluctuated violently, were shocked to find their bodies gradually heating up. The purifying demonic lotus flame possessed a strange ability. It could use one's emotions as fuel to burn the body from within. Realizing this, many people hurriedly retreated in panic. Only after leaving the mountain range did the burning sensation in their hearts finally weaken. Their faces still filled with lingering horror. It truly lives up to its name as the purifying demonic lotus flame. Several grand elders from nearby sects watched with solemn yet envious expressions. Facing an opponent who controlled such a heavenly flame meant one had to divide attention merely to resist the terrifying heat before the battle even began. That temperature was so intense it could even incinerate dou qi itself. So Xiao Yan is finally going to use the purifying demonic lotus flame. Old man Hun Mo frowned as he watched the scene unfold. Even for him, dealing with that flame would be troublesome. Although the chief of the Hall of Souls was one level stronger than Xiao Yan, A moment of carelessness could still lead to defeat. This little fellow is truly blessed by fate. I once tried to obtain the purifying demonic lotus flame, but failed, yet he managed to subdue it with his own strength. Hun Qianmo sighed before laughing softly. Still, even with this flame, defeating Hun Mie Sheng will not be easy. The chief of the Hall of Souls stood calmly in the sky, staring intently at the churning pink flame. His gaze was grave, yet beneath that seriousness burned an unusual excitement. Before everyone's eyes, the pink flame gradually condensed into a large circular fireplate. Strange flame symbols formed along its edges. Upon closer inspection, these symbols were clearly the 6 heavenly flames Xiao Yan had refined. At the center of the plate, a crystal-like pink flame swayed gently in the air. Angry Buddha reincarnation. Xiao Yan's eyes hardened as the fireplate fully formed. With a low shout, the attack was unleashed. The fireplate in the sky began to emit a buzzing vibration before slowly rotating with a cracking sound. As it turned, the crystal-like flame at its center suddenly shot out a pillar of fire as thick as an arm. Although the fire beam began small, it expanded violently as it rushed forward, swelling into a gigantic column hundreds of feet wide. With terrifying speed, the beam struck a nearby mountain. The instant it made contact, the mountain vanished as though it were made of melting ice. In its place remained only a 1,000-foot wide pit that seemed bottomless. Go! Xiao Yan changed his hand seal and pointed directly at the chief of the Hall of Souls. The fireplate rose, and the blazing beam tore across the ground, carving a massive ravine tens of thousands of feet long. Everything touched by the beam appeared to simply vanish from existence. The attack moved with lightning speed. In the blink of an eye, the strange pink beam locked onto the chief of the Hall of Souls before he could fully retreat. As the beam surrounded him, the majestic Do Qi around his body began melting at a speed visible to the naked eye. Though Do Qi continued to surge from his body, it could not replenish itself as fast as it was being destroyed. The strengthened angry Buddha reincarnation had become overwhelmingly powerful after fusing with the new flame. Even an ordinary Do Sheng would likely last only half a minute before their Do Qi was completely burned away, after which even their soul would be annihilated. The surrounding experts watched in shock as the chief's Do Qi rapidly diminished. Their eyes were filled with fear as they looked at the rotating fireplate above. The fire beam carried an extremely dense and deadly aura. If this continues, the chief of the Hall of Souls won't last long. Many people shared the same thought. Once his Do Qi was completely exhausted, defeat would follow. Reincarnation restrain. Xiao Yan's gaze turned colder as he formed another sequence of seals. The reincarnation fireplate suddenly began rotating in the opposite direction. The enormous fire beam began shrinking rapidly. Within seconds, it reduced from hundreds of feet to dozens, then continued shrinking violently. As it compressed, an even more terrifying destructive energy gathered within it. This is bad. Old man Hun Mo's expression changed drastically when he sensed the energy. Even his heart trembled when the beam shrank to the size of a thumb. Reincarnation restrain. Falling reincarnation. A cold glint flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes. The tiny beam locked onto the chief of the Hall of Souls' forehead as Xiao Yan shouted sharply. The fireplate trembled violently before collapsing into a streak of red light across the sky. The thumb-sized beam shot forward with terrifying destructive force and struck the chief of the Hall of Souls head-on. A deafening explosion erupted through the heavens. The resulting waves of fire forced even Do Sheng experts to retreat hastily in fear of being touched by the destructive flames. It hit. Yao Lao and the others revealed faint joy. Such a devastating attack would surely injure even the chief of the Hall of Souls. However, the ancestor of the Pill Tower stared at the explosion with slightly furrowed brows. Across the mountains, countless observers looked toward the sky. Xiao Yan's attack had been unbelievably powerful, strong enough to determine victory if nothing unexpected happened. The members of the Hall of Souls were silent. They had never imagined their chief would be suppressed to the point of having no chance to retaliate. Hun Qianmo merely laughed quietly with his hands tucked into his sleeves. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan hovered in the sky, exhaling a mouthful of scorching air as he stared intently at the dissipating pink flames. Though confident in his attack, an uneasy feeling lingered in his heart. Somehow, he sensed the chief of the Hall of Souls would not fall so easily. Suddenly, a faint sound emerged from within the fading flames. He's not dead. Xiao Yan's expression darkened as caution rose within him. Soon, a vague black figure appeared within the spreading pink flames. A strange suction force suddenly erupted, pulling the scattered flames back toward the figure. To everyone's disbelief, the flames were completely absorbed into the body of the person slowly stepping out. He actually absorbed the purifying demonic lotus flame into his body? Is he trying to kill himself? The crowd erupted in shock. Xiao Yan stared in disbelief as the chief of the Hall of Souls emerged completely unharmed. The taste of the purifying demonic lotus flame is indeed delightful, the chief said calmly while smacking his lips. Unfortunately, it isn't the true essence flame. I would really like to taste the essence of it. He looked at Xiao Yan with a strange smile. Within his eyes burned an unusual black flame possessing a terrifying devouring power. Energy from the surroundings continuously flowed into his body before being swallowed by that strange force. Confused? The chief asked with a soft laugh. You possess the purifying demonic lotus flame, but I possess a heavenly flame even stronger. He slowly raised his hand. A cluster of eerie black flames appeared, swirling as if forming a human face. From its mouth burst a frightening devouring force. Xiao Yan's pupils shrank instantly when he saw the flame. The second-ranked heavenly flame. Nihility devouring flame? A violent storm surged within Xiao Yan's heart at that moment. The Nihility devouring flame ranked second on the heavenly flame ranking, its position even higher than the purifying demonic lotus flame. The mystery surrounding this flame was far deeper than that of the demonic lotus flame. At the very least, rumors of the purifying demonic lotus flame had occasionally spread across the continent. But Xiao Yan had never once heard any news related to the Nihility devouring flame until this very moment. The Nihility devouring flame was said to have been born from absolute nothingness. It possessed no fixed form and no true appearance. In a sense, it was a mysterious and intangible existence. Legends claimed that this flame could devour virtually anything in the world. And only a handful of things were capable of resisting its devouring power. However, the flame had always existed only in myths. No one had ever discovered any trace of it. Because of this, Xiao Yan was profoundly shocked when he saw the chief of the Hall of Souls summon this legendary heavenly flame. Nihility devouring flame. How is this possible? How could he possess such a flame? Yao Lao immediately recognized the strange black flame as well. A look of extreme shock appeared on his face as he involuntarily cried out. Everyone nearby trembled violently upon hearing those words. Even the ancestor of the Pill Tower revealed an extremely grave expression. Meanwhile, many of the experts observing the silent fallen mountain range felt confused. The Nihility devouring flame was far too mysterious, and only a tiny number of individuals could recognize it. To most people, the black flame in the Hall of Souls chief's hand was simply an unfamiliar and unsettling sight. Squeak, squeak. After swallowing the pink flame, the black flame with a human-like face seemed to grow slightly stronger. It even let out excited cries, as if savoring its meal. Xiao Yan, it seems to be quite satisfied with your taste. I have rarely seen it so excited, the Hall of Souls chief said with a faint smile. Xiao Yan stared fixedly at the black flame without blinking. A moment later, his brows slowly knitted together. Then he shook his head slightly and said in a calm voice, "That flame of yours is not the true Nihility devouring flame." His words startled many people. Even Yao Lao was briefly stunned. After all, aside from the Nihility devouring flame, no other heavenly flame was known to possess devouring abilities. Oh? The Hall of Souls chief merely raised his eyebrow, slowly rubbing the black flame in his palm. He asked, "If it isn't the Nihility devouring flame, then tell me, what do you think it is?" Xiao Yan looked at him and smiled faintly. The shock in his heart gradually faded. Although the flame did possess devouring power, Xiao Yan controlled 6 different heavenly flames. In terms of understanding heavenly flames, hardly anyone on the continent could rival him. Once he calmed down, he sensed something subtly wrong, though he could not immediately pinpoint it. The chief's response had confirmed his suspicion. The human-faced black flame might be related to the Nihility devouring flame. But Xiao Yan was certain it was not the real thing. His judgment came from more than a decade of experience manipulating heavenly flames. The devouring power cannot be faked. It is indeed a trait of the Nihility devouring flame. Xiao Yan said slowly while staring at the chief. But, it seems weaker than it should be. Could it be that this is merely a seed flame of the Nihility devouring flame? A seed flame was a fragment separated from the main flame. It possessed some of the original flame's abilities, but it was far weaker. In a sense, it could be considered an avatar of the heavenly flame. However, only very few heavenly flames were capable of separating such fragments. Even the ancient purifying demonic lotus flame could theoretically do it. But it never did, because dividing its essence would weaken it. Xiao Yan carefully watched the chief's expression. Sure enough, the man's eyes narrowed slightly the moment the words, "seed flame," were spoken. As I thought, Xiao Yan sneered inwardly. If the man truly possessed the real nihility devouring flame, the surrounding energy would have been devoured instantly. It would not slowly consume power as it was doing now. However, this discovery made Xiao Yan's heart grow heavier. If the chief possessed a seed flame, it meant that the Hun clan likely held the true nihility devouring flame. A legendary heavenly flame existing only in myths was actually in the clan's possession. This was terrible news. You truly deserve your reputation as a master of flames, the Hall of Souls chief said softly, holding the black flame as he smiled faintly. His words indirectly confirmed Xiao Yan's deduction. The nihility devouring flame was extremely important to the Hun clan. Even someone of his status could not bring out its true form. But even a seed flame is more than enough to kill you. He raised his hand. The human-faced black flame suddenly opened its mouth and bit into his palm. Do Qi surged out of his body and was rapidly swallowed by the flame. The chief's face turned slightly pale as his energy was consumed. But the black flame grew increasingly powerful. Soon it let out a sharp howl and expanded from the size of a head to a monstrous figure thousands of feet tall. Black flames raged across the sky. Everyone present could feel the Do Qi within their bodies stirring, as if trying to break free. They quickly suppressed it to avoid losing control. The enormous human-faced black flame drifted through the air, its hollow eyes fixed on Xiao Yan. A faint sound of swallowing echoed, making the expression on its face appear disturbingly greedy. Devouring flame, kill him, the Hall of Souls chief commanded respectfully. Squeak, squeak. The flame shrieked strangely and suddenly vanished like a ghost. In the blink of an eye, it sealed the surrounding space around Xiao Yan. Black lines of fire formed a cage that trapped him inside. Everyone was stunned. None of them expected this strange flame to attack on its own. What a delicious scent, the black flame laughed sharply. Submit obediently and let me devour you. A terrifying devouring force erupted from the surrounding space. Xiao Yan's expression slightly changed as he prepared to suppress the raging heavenly flames within his body. However, at that very moment, powerful pink flames suddenly burst out from his body without warning. Startled, Xiao Yan watched as the flames gathered and transformed into a palm-sized flame baby, Little Yi. Little Yi, come back quickly, Xiao Yan shouted in alarm. Little Yi was the essence formed from the fusion of 6 heavenly flames. If he were devoured, Xiao Yan would truly panic. Yi Hua, Yi Hua. Little Yi merely shook his tiny head. His delicate face showed a rare trace of anger as he glared at the black flame. The purifying demonic lotus flame and the nihility devouring flame ranked third and second respectively on the heavenly flame list. But neither had ever truly proven superiority over the other. Although Little Yi was newly formed, his instincts largely originated from the purifying demonic lotus flame. Being arrogantly provoked by a mere seed flame ignited fury deep within him. Yi Hua. In anger, Little Yi suddenly exploded into a vast sea of pink flames. The black fire prison shattered instantly, and the pink flames surged outward before forming an even larger prison that trapped the black flame instead. Under Little Yi's control, Xiao Yan's heavenly flames displayed their full power. Even Xiao Yan himself could not manipulate them as perfectly as Little Yi could. Because Little Yi was literally the spirit of the flames, the black flame panicked and attempted to devour the incoming flames again. But this time it was no longer so fortunate. Each strand of pink flame was controlled with perfect precision by Little Yi. If the true nihility devouring flame had been present, the outcome might have been uncertain. But a mere seed flame had no chance against a true master. Yi Hua, ignoring the devouring power completely, the pink flames condensed into a giant flame baby equal in size to the enormous face. In front of countless stunned eyes, Little Yi grabbed the black flame's face firmly, as if he intended to devour the nihility devouring flame seed instead. Crunch! A miserable, piercing cry escaped from the human face formed by the nihility devouring flame as Little Yi ruthlessly bit down on it. The face immediately began to struggle violently. Streams of black flames erupted from its body and surged wildly toward Little Yi. Yi Hua. Little Yi paid no attention to the devouring flames' counterattack. The pink flames around his body condensed into a crystal-like armor. No matter how the devouring flame unleashed its terrifying devouring power, it could not forcibly extract even a trace of energy from Little Yi. Bang! Bang! While resisting the nihility devouring flame's devouring force, Little Yi clenched his fists tightly and repeatedly smashed them into the human face, forcing its mouth wider and wider. Every strike carried clusters of pink flames that invaded the face. Gradually, the black flames began to scatter and lose their cohesion. "You bastard! How dare you injure me?" The distorted and collapsing human face looked terrifying as it roared in fury. After all, it was merely a seed flame of the nihility devouring flame, while Little Yi was a fire spirit born from the fusion of 6 heavenly flames, including the purifying demonic lotus flame. Even if the true form of the nihility devouring flame appeared, defeating Xiao Yan would not be easy, let alone a mere flame seed. Yi Hua. Little Yi's intelligence had clearly grown. Not only could he understand human speech, but the emotions on his small face had also become increasingly vivid. Upon hearing the angry cry of the devouring flame, a fierce expression appeared on his tiny face. He grabbed the massive human face with his hand as a monstrous pink flame surged from his palm, wrapping tightly around the nihility devouring flame. You dare to refine me? You're courting death." Little Yi's actions caused panic to appear on the human face as it shouted sharply. Throughout countless years, the nihility devouring flame had never encountered anything capable of resisting its devouring power. Yet now, the mysterious ability it had always been proud of had become completely useless. "This is bad. I've lost my connection with the flame seed." The chief of the Hall of Souls, standing some distance away, suddenly changed expression. At that moment, the connection between him and the seed flame of the nihility devouring flame had been severed. The heavenly flame inside that brat has mutated. It's completely unaffected by the devouring power of the nihility devouring flame. I truly miscalculated this time. The chief of the Hall of Souls' eyes flickered rapidly. Gritting his teeth, he suddenly shot toward the pink fire barrier in the sky. Although it was only a seed flame, he had spent a long time begging the clan to obtain it. If he slowly refined it, he too would gain a devouring ability. While it wouldn't rival the true nihility devouring flame, it would still be a devastating trump card in battle. More importantly, he would have no way to answer to the clan if he lost it. He absolutely could not allow anything to happen to it. Haha, Hall Chief. The battle between heavenly flames shouldn't be interfered with by others. However, just as he moved, a figure appeared in front of him like a ghostly shadow. The smiling figure was Xiao Yan, who had been watching him closely all along. The chief of the Hall of Souls' expression turned cold, ignoring the loss of Do Qi caused by the devouring flame earlier. He immediately launched his sharpest and most vicious attacks at Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan simply smiled in response. He could clearly sense that the chief of the Hall of Souls was far weaker than before. Evidently, the nihility devouring flame had devoured a large amount of his Do Qi earlier. In this weakened state, the Hall Chief could no longer pose much of a threat. As the two once again clashed fiercely, Little Yi in the sky suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of pink flames. The flames poured into the cluster of fire before him. The nihility devouring flame, which had barely been holding back the surrounding pressure, finally could no longer endure. It let out a miserable scream as the black flames forming the human face exploded apart, transforming into countless black fire snakes that darted wildly within the pink flame cluster like headless flies. "This is bad." The explosion of the nihility devouring flame caused the expressions of Hun Qian Mo and Old Man Hun Mo to change drastically. Exchanging a glance, the two immediately rushed forward, intending to intervene and rescue the devouring flame. "HMPH, are you planning to break the rules?" Seeing their actions, Yao Lao and the others' expressions turned cold. Xiao Chen and the Pill Tower ancestor immediately stepped forward to block Hun Qian Mo and his companion. At the same time, the Do Sheng experts of the Sky Mansion Alliance moved to restrain the elite Do Shengs from the Hall of Souls. Instantly, the atmosphere across the fallen mountain range became extremely tense. A full-scale chaotic battle could erupt at any moment. HMPH. If the Hall of Souls wants an all-out war, the Sky Mansion Alliance isn't afraid. Yao Lao shouted sternly. Hun Qianmo narrowed his eyes and slowly swept his gaze across the battlefield. The strength of both sides was roughly equal. If they truly fought, even victory for the Hall of Souls would be miserable, and such losses were something the Hun clan desperately wished to avoid. What should we do? Old man Hun Mo asked quietly. A cold glint in his eyes. Hun Qianmo stared intently at the calm young man in green before him. Xiao Yan's expression was serene. His gentle eyes like a still lake, deep and unfathomable. Having exchanged blows earlier, Hun Qianmo knew just how terrifying this young monster truly was. Even if he used his full strength, defeating him would be extremely difficult. Let things continue as they are, Hun Qianmo finally said in a low voice. Both sides relaxed slightly upon hearing this. They each retreated a distance, forcefully suppressing the extremely tense atmosphere. Bang! At that moment, Little Yi's enormous baby hand slammed into the flame cluster. The flames began to spin wildly before transforming into a raging firestorm that completely shattered the black flame snakes. Then Little Yi opened his mouth and swallowed the entire firestorm. Although devouring power was a mysterious ability unique to the Nihility devouring flame, heavenly flames themselves were like wild beasts, the strong devoured the weak. Flames of greater strength frequently consumed weaker ones. When Xiao Yan had attempted to obtain the falling heart flame in the past, that flame had also coveted the green lotus core flame within him. The Nihility devouring flame ranked second on the heavenly flame ranking and was indeed slightly stronger than the purifying demonic lotus flame. However, the one before them was only a seed flame. For Little Yi, devouring it was extremely easy. Brub! After swallowing the flame seed, Little Yi let out a strange sound from his throat and patted his stomach in satisfaction. His body shrank back to the size of a lotus. His gaze then shifted to Xiao Yan, who was fighting the chief of the Hall of Souls. Under the watch of countless eyes, Little Yi drifted to a position near the battlefield and beckoned with his hand. Numerous slowly rotating fire lotuses quietly appeared around him. The chief of the Hall of Souls caught sight of these lotuses from the corner of his eye and his heart trembled with shock. Before he could react, Little Yi pointed his chubby finger at him and shouted, "Yi Wa!" Beat! Swoosh! The moment Little Yi's voice rang out, more than 10 fire lotuses lined up and shot across the sky like meteors before violently exploding against the chief of the Hall of Souls. Rumble! One explosion triggered another, forming a terrifying chain reaction. Waves of scorching flames swept across the sky, forcing the distant experts to retreat even further. Even someone as powerful as the chief of the Hall of Souls was blasted until he let out a muffled groan. Smoke rising from his body as he hurriedly retreated thousands of feet through the air. Only after flying back a great distance did he finally stabilize himself. Swallowing the blood rising in his throat, shock filled his eyes. He had never expected that such an inconspicuous firebaby could possess such terrifying combat power. Hall Chief, it seems you might lose this battle. Just as he was still shocked, a ghost-like figure suddenly appeared behind him. A sharp wind slashed mercilessly toward his neck. In your dreams, the chief of the Hall of Souls reacted quickly, turning instinctively and throwing a punch to meet Xiao Yan's palm strike. A deep explosion sounded as the two forces collided, sending both men flying backward. You're still far from capable of killing this chief, the Hall Chief shouted darkly as he retreated. Consider yourself lucky this time. I'll personally take revenge next time. Perhaps you won't have that opportunity. A cold glint appeared in Xiao Yan's eyes as a chilling smile rose on his lips. The chief of the Hall of Souls felt a sudden chill in his heart. Turning his head instinctively, he saw another 10 fire lotuses rushing toward him at lightning speed. They collided violently with his body before the shocked eyes of everyone across the mountain range. How is this possible? His heart trembled as the terrifying energy slammed into him.